This is the CHRILLCAST. I am Chris.
I'm Skyrionn.
And I'm Wisefish.
And before we get into is Game Pass good for gaming or bad for gaming, which is a much better title than the one I have as the clickbait on the thumbnail. But what do you guys do on your channels?
Oh, me. Okay, so I'm Skyrionn, and I make timeline and lore videos. I did a 3-part of BioShock, which took over a year to put together. I also cover Fable lore, which is what I'm more known for. I also stream on Twitch, and yeah, that's what I do.
Absolutely. Go subscribe to Skyrionn if you haven't already. Definitely do that. Mr. Wisefish, what you do?
I'm Wisefish, and I started off making review videos for games, but I've branched out into lore videos with the Metro series, Apex and Titanfall, BioShock, and recently Fallout. But I'm doing some more in the future, and I also stream on Twitch weekly.
And he's got a Wisefish Clips channel, but I have no idea what's on.
Yeah, well, I keep forgetting to upload.
I post my
30 subs, so yeah, I'm losing people daily. So
I post my good, bad, and meme-worthy moments. Oh, okay, so this is like highlights from the stuff you didn't put in the videos.
Yeah, from my streams and stuff, I just get the best bits and stick them in there.
Makes sense. And just for your guys' own record, if you've forgotten why you're subscribed to this channel, this is the CHRILLCAST. I'm the main host, with Will being my co-host. And we've done a lot of cool interviews, including an interview with Skyrionn and with Mr. Wisefish. Go check that out. And I accidentally clicked on Wow Such Gaming's interview, which if you've watched that one, he robots hardcore in the middle of it. And we don't know why that happened, but hopefully when we get him back on in the future, it won't happen again. So today we're going to be talking about, is Game Pass good or bad for gaming? So I'm going to why don't we talk about what's good about Game Pass and then what's bad about Game Pass and whether it's good long term. So what's good about Game Pass in your opinions?
So I love Game Pass. I'm a big advocate for it. It's I don't even know how much it is a month now. I know it's risen since they acquired EA, or maybe I just upgraded to the Ultimate anyway. But you get Xbox Live out of it. You get a huge catalog of games. That's how I'm playing through Ori and the Blind Forest, how I went through the Dead Space games, another game, Kona. It's not just about the games that you get access for free. It's the catalog of games you can just scroll through as well to play a game that you've never played before. So I've played it. I've had it since it came out, and I wouldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It means you can play new games as soon as they come out without having to fork out 60, 70 pounds or dollars. You've got a wide catalog of games, like you said, Skyrim, where you may not have ever seen that game before, but it catches your interest. You're like, oh, I'll give it a go. And suddenly it could be like your favorite game of all time. I mean, we've got a Series S in our living room. My wife was just scrolling through it and started playing Wild Hunt, and she's completed that, and she's going through it again because she liked it so much. Witcher 3 is my favorite game as well, so I was very happy about it. So yeah, it's fantastic. You just get to play games for a little bit a month, and yeah, it's really good for the ecosystem of Xbox.
Yeah, I think it lowers the risk to trying new stuff, especially when the catalog is ever expanding. So like there are some games in Game Pass that I would never have thought to go buy, but I do think it's curated pretty well too, because they try to stick to the mainstream stuff. And I'm going to talk about why there's a con later, but essentially, not con as in like we're conning you, but like a con is in like also a bad point, a counterpoint to what I'm saying. But a well-curated ecosystem of games that I can play, like essentially the Netflix of gaming, is something I always said would be a great business strategy. I just wasn't sure how to make it marketable, and how to maintain it. Netflix has had a hard time going through the years where things have come on and off of their platform. And I think Microsoft's going to see some similar things in the future based on whether people are playing the EA games or the rumored Ubisoft games being added to the system. I'd be curious to see how they curate that system going forward. And will it be based on a player count, whether it stays on or not? And will third parties reevaluate being on Game Pass based on the number of players playing their games? For example, let's say EA has Titanfall on there and they find out that Titanfall's player base has grown to like 6 times what it was. Will they want to stay on there, or will they say, hey, 1 month from now we're pulling it, but if you buy it now before it leaves Game Pass, you get like a 50% discount, you know, that kind of a thing. So now people are invested in the game. EA can pull it off of Game Pass, recoup a bunch of money, and then never put it back on Game Pass. You know, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It seems like there's some benefits for companies being on there. But overall, I like the service. And if you go on eBay and you buy secondhand codes that haven't been used yet, you can get Game Pass for far less than $15 a month.
All right, I didn't know that.
That's how I keep.
Always check though.
Yeah, I've had pretty good luck with it so far. I've managed to get Game Pass for less than like $6 a month.
That's pretty damn good. Also, you get the thing that we're watching right now, which is the cloud gaming, where you can play on the go on your phone or tablet. And I mean, no one's really done that before, so that's a fantastic. Oh, I forgot about that thing.
Amazon, dead on arrival. PS Now, the first true cloud gaming platform.
Yeah, just never went the full way, but the cloud gaming's on your phone to play like Halo. I mean, I played it back when it was in the very early beta. Is that it now?
This is OneCast. It's basically xCloud, but it only works if you have an Xbox already. So like, I can boot this thing up and play any Xbox game on my phone. And unlike the official Xbox app, you don't have to have a controller plugged into this. This will actually play with on-screen controls. I don't know if Microsoft's going to let them exist much longer. They'll probably shut the API off for the OneCast app, but I actually really like this one quite a bit. Yeah. I like it better than the official Xbox xCloud app currently. Not xCloud, Xbox game streaming app, whatever it's called, because it is literally just a streaming app versus the official app, which is like a ton of other stuff baked into it. This is only for game streaming. It's called OneCast. I quite enjoy it. And there was a Sony version too, as RPlay. The RPlay was better than Sony's streaming app because I didn't have to be on Wi-Fi to use it. The official Sony one requires Wi-Fi, and you have to be on the same Wi-Fi as the console you're playing on, whereas the RPlay allows you to remote play from anywhere using a cell phone connection. So I'm not going to get into the details on that, but Sony, you messed up. And Microsoft, I wish you'd build a strictly game streaming app like although xCloud was what their plan was, and they didn't get it because of Apple reasons, but that's a whole different story.
Oh, don't.
I will say, although Xbox Game Pass was not the first true Netflix of gaming service, PS Now was really kind of the first one. They're kind of the most prominent, and they built that by having an extremely robust catalog of games that basically Sony just couldn't keep up with, couldn't compete with. And so they are the main game streaming, game Netflix style service out there. And I think Microsoft earned a lot of their reputation precedes them. There's a really good service, and there's a reason why people are willing to subscribe to it more and more every day.
They've invested so much in building this like community focused thing, like ecosystem, and it's paying off because it looks like they're listening to the players. So they've done things online. I think they made I think it was Xbox made a tweet or one point said we're going to do this. I think it was the Xbox Live.
Oh yeah. They were going to increase it.
People were just like, they were going to increase the price, and people were like, no, why are you doing that? It's forcing people to do. And they went, okay, we're listening. We're not going to do that. And that's helped build up this. Game Pass is a really player-friendly experience.
Exactly.
And it's really helped their reputation anyway.
And on top of that, when they went back on increasing the cost, and to be entirely fair, Xbox Live Gold, like what would you have if you just had Xbox Live Gold? Well, you just have the ability to play online, right? So there's no real point to having Xbox Live Gold nowadays when Game Pass is not that much more. But the fact that they increased that price for no good reason, I mean, they deserved all of the backlash they got. And they only increased the annual price. The monthly price has always been $9.99. The 3-month price has always been, I think it's like $30 or something. I don't even know if they still have that tier, but they used to have a 3-month tier where you pay every 3 months. And then the yearly was $60. So it was like 15, 30, 6, or 10, 30, 60, or 10, 25, 60 for Yeah, I think it was 25 because you got a slight discount for buying 3 months at a time. And then the year was really where you got the big discount, where you got essentially paid half the price of what the monthly cost would have been. So the increase to 120, which was just essentially, okay, now you're just paying the monthly price, but you're paying it at a yearly rate kind of a thing. So yeah, they just basically made the monthly and the yearly the same price. No discount whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a bad move from their team. Very surprising considering
everything else
what they
done
were
right.
saying before. Yeah,
now,
it was a sudden U-turn.
The way they responded to it was brilliant.
Yeah, the biggest thing they did was they took away Xbox Live Gold requirement to do online play that doesn't even use Xbox Live Gold and free-to-play games. So, like,
games, yeah.
I know Fortnite's not on the Xbox 360, but if it was, now you wouldn't have to pay Xbox Live. Or you wouldn't have to pay for Xbox Live to play Fortnite on the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. PUBG, I believe PUBG is a free-to-play game, and it would be free to play online without Xbox Live Gold subscription. So they added that tier now, like where essentially if you have a silver membership and you're playing a free-to-play game, you don't have to pay Xbox Live Gold to play that online.
It was about time, though. I mean, I feel like they lost so many, maybe younger audiences because of it. Because PlayStation had it for so long that you could just play free-to-play games without having to subscribe or anything like that. Right. And Xbox was so slow to catch up with it. And I feel like you look at the people who use PlayStations and they play like Fortnite and stuff, and you think you could have won those people over if you had that much earlier. Maybe I don't know, but I feel like it should have happened a long time ago. So it's good they finally did it.
So now we kind of talked about all the good things in regards to Game Pass. What are some things that you guys see as potentially bad for the gaming industry on Game Pass?
Do you want to go first, Skyrionn?
I'd just say the only negative thing would be microtransactions, but in the games I've played on Game Pass, like Ori and the Blind Forest and Kona, even Sea of Thieves, microtransactions I've seen on Sea of Thieves, but they're just an optional feature that don't affect the game at all because it's all cosmetic items. So yeah. People pull the argument about microtransactions, but they're there if you want them. And if you don't want them, then don't buy them.
But the problem is they've also got the Battle Pass tied in with it now, which I was really annoyed by because I was just like, don't need another Battle Pass. Like, but that's a different topic. I'm not a big fan of the Battle Pass system. But I just feel like, a game's struggling a little bit when you're having to add these other elements like paid for cosmetics as well as a paid for Battle Pass, and then microtransactions to help speed up that Battle Pass. It kind of gets worrying that it's just like, why am I playing this game? So if I'm just gonna have to keep buying things.
My biggest worry with Game Pass is it's going to kind of slow down development overall in the industry. And I think short term is great because you're going to be getting lots of games day one. You're going to see developers putting their games on Game Pass day one. We're going to get to try games we never would have tried otherwise. Like, I imagine Battletoads would not be nearly as highly played without being on Game Pass, even despite the popularity of Battletoads, especially with the memes. But overall, I think long term, the strategy is going to be you have to win Game Pass. So you're going to be launching your games spread out over the year, right? Like Nintendo does. They launch their IPs kind of spread out. But you're going to see your internal studios on Game Pass competing now. So, for example, let's say Halo and Doom. One's going to come out in January, one's going to come out in December or November, whatever time frame, a different month on purpose, so they don't compete with each other. And then long term, let's say Doom doesn't do as well as Halo, which who knows, but is Doom going to exist forever, or is Microsoft just going to keep it in their catalog and then shut down id Software, right?
Yeah.
Is EA going to become a Game Pass exclusive thing, and then EA is going to be shutting down studios left and right because they make money off the service? When you're making money on a service, you don't have to release new things as long as the service is worth it to the consumer. So every time a game starts to perform poorly, it gets removed from Game Pass, that studio might no longer be raking in the revenue. Maybe that studio shuts down. Or let's say Bethesda studios start weaning it back. Like, okay, you guys have released 3 games, they haven't done well. Let's shut down this studio, Bethesda. This studio of Bethesda, right? ZeniMax. This is ZeniMax Studio. I think long term they're going to be trimming quote unquote the fat consistently year on year basis, and it's going to end up with an industry that only makes mainstream games, and people are only going to buy things like Game Pass. So what's the incentive to release an independent game on the Xbox? There isn't one.
I think that's certainly one thing that I keep thinking of, is just Game Pass is great for the consumer. Like, it's a small upfront payment.
It's good right now.
And then you can play game after game after game after game all you want. You can complete like 5 games within the month. And you've saved yourself like $300 or pounds.
Right.
And you've only paid $11.99 a month. And then you can cancel it. My worry is that all the games that are coming out that are exclusive, or they've got Game Pass in mind, they're going to become like live services. And it's my biggest worry for something like Halo, for example. Like, they keep saying, oh, it's 10 years. And you just think, 10 years? Destiny announced itself as 10 years, and then it was just like, fixing things along it went. Fallout 76 is another example of something that's just like, quick, get it out there, get people playing it, get the money in. And then we'll update as we go along. I worry that whilst it's great that we can just pick up a game on Game Pass, that a lot of these studios are just going to go get a live service game going, and then we'll update it as we go along. And then the monthly fees we get from people's Game Passes will help keep pumping that back into the game, instead of like a one-off payment for the game and it's done. But we're not seeing that in games anymore. It's all live service, really.
You almost have to incentivize people to keep coming back to the game so that it stays relevant on Game Pass.
So then that encourages live service games.
Exactly.
Where it's just like, why is this person paying $11.99 a month if they've just stopped playing these games? So we've got to keep adding things. And MCC is a prime example of, they've added things. It's sort of a live service, and luckily it's free. But it's a sign of what's things to come, in my opinion, for Halo Infinite and stuff.
Fable Legends confirmed. No.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, is there anything else you guys want to say about Game Pass long term, good or bad?
Again, I like the service. I'm hoping it stays the way it is. I look forward to Fable coming out on it and other games, but it's a good service at the moment. It's just if they start raising the price, or if, as Wisefish said, they just release games half-assed and then
live service.
They go. Yep. It's not great. Like, back when I was growing up, games like, I know, Banjo-Kazooie for the Nintendo 64, or these games were ready when they came out. I don't think I ever came across a bug playing a game like that, or Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64, or, and I'm trying to think, like Croc, Legends of the Gobos.
Yeah, I'll be right back. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Oh, 1 second. Anyways, so as far as Game Pass goes, Skyrionn, I'm sorry I cut you off. I didn't mean to. My bad. But
that's okay.
Essentially, I agree with everything you were saying. Game Pass
what I was saying.
Game Pass is great right now. Having games day one on Game Pass is great for the consumer, for sure. And I think you were getting ready to share some of your concerns of what it could be going forward.
Oh yeah, because I still don't understand how it makes money apart from microtransactions. There must be some other things behind the scenes, but if we start seeing advertisements in video games, or you know how mobile games have advertisements, if Microsoft somehow incorporate that, or with YouTubers, we make money by people watching our videos because of advertisements in the beginning of the videos. I'm hoping that Microsoft doesn't implement stuff like that, and I fear that they will somehow.
See, I think it just doesn't cost them any money to leave games on the service. Like, if it's a first-party developer, that might even be why Bethesda was an acquisition, was because they have the back catalog of games, and being able to, I guess the value there for the consumer is, like, you have this giant catalog of games, right? And the more of these games that are Microsoft first parties, the less money it costs Microsoft to just leave an old game on the service without doing anything to it. It's like, other than making these games backwards compatible, what cost is there for Microsoft to have, let's say, Oblivion or Morrowind or the Master Chief Collection is a different story at this point, but Halo 5, they're not doing anything with Halo 5 really. Halo Wars, they're doing nothing with those games. Does it cost them anything to leave them on the service? No, but it's value proposition for the consumer.
I think I mean, that makes sense, but I think the problem is with the newer games. Like, we know that Halo Infinite has had a huge budget, whether it's $500 million or more, or I'd imagine it's more now that they've had to change some things up since July and postpone it, with stockholders being a bit aggy about it and stuff like that. But how do they make money back from that? They've got the free multiplayer, we know that, and it's clear that the customization is going to be tied to microtransactions. And I think that's the worry, is the newer games like Bethesda titles, like Elder Scrolls Online, like that's big money makers because of their monthly costs on top of that. Is that going to be part of Game Pass as well? So I think it's just the newer titles that are coming out. It's just like, how do you get the money back from making that title? And the only way I see it is microtransactions and battle passes. Hopefully not advertisements. That would be just absolutely awful.
Pull the EA route.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, brand sponsors in the game and stuff like that.
Master Chief has Nike shoes.
Well, I mean, was it Kojima's game? I can't remember what it's called.
Death Stranding.
Where you walk. Death Stranding had the Mountain Dew, or was it the Monster Energy drink? So,
oh really?
We're entering a new era of in-game product placements and stuff. So maybe that's how they make the money. I don't know.
I feel like if it was a game like a new GTA, then it'd work because they fit into that world. But yeah, as you said, like Master Chief's wearing Nike trainers, then no.
But that's where like the microtransaction skins come in. Like, you could have for some reason, I don't know, Mountain Dew gun skin for $5 or something like that. Something that just ruins the credibility of the game, but also people will buy it just for the memes and stuff. But then that's how they get their money. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the way I see it is, yeah, there'll be live services, but the fact of the matter is they're also selling physical copies of Halo, right? There's physical copies of Halo. They'll be selling digital copies of Halo. It'll drive people to Game Pass. I don't see how, unless Halo crashes and burns hardcore like Cyberpunk did, I don't see how Microsoft doesn't make at least break even with Halo. It'll never be a franchise that undersells.
I feel Cyberpunk now is that cautionary tale for studios not to release a game. And I don't get it, because they pushed back so many times their release date. And then they released a game that wasn't really finished, and they were aware of the issues.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people keep saying, oh, it was 6 or 8, 9 years in development. But the thing is, it wasn't. It started in 2016. So it didn't really have that long.
Not for how big of a game, how much of a blockbuster it was supposed to be.
Yeah, for the ambition that they went with, it really wasn't that long. But yeah, that's it. It's set the but even still, with the refunds that it's had to give out and the lawsuits, it's still made an absolute profit like mad.
Really?
Not saying that's a good thing, because of how broken it was for PlayStation.
You know, I will say this, if games released on Game Pass kind of broken, people will forgive those studios. But if they released it at $60 and not on Game Pass, I think that people are less likely to forgive it. Like, for example, No Man's Sky. That game took a very long time to turn people's opinions. If that had launched on Game Pass, it might have had a better shot initially, because nobody was paying $60 right out the gate for it. Like, you'd download it, you'd try it, you'd be like, oh, this isn't for me. And then you'd let it cook in the oven for a while on Game Pass. And eventually, when it's a good game, you'd re-download it. And Game Pass is nice because you can take risks like that. But I do worry that games like No Man's Sky are less likely to come out, because they would not sell Game Pass and they would not do well long-term on Game Pass because they were bad in the beginning. So Microsoft just wouldn't even take a risk putting it on Game Pass at all.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where I see good and bad with Game Pass. And I think for the industry, it will trim fat from Microsoft's platform. And overall, it will probably lead to less games as opposed to more games.
Yeah. I personally think for indie games and lesser known IPs, it's fantastic. I mean, Battletoads, for example, yeah, it had the memes. I had no real want to play it when I saw the trailer for it. But when it came out and it was on Battle Pass, I was like, yeah, I'll give this a go. And I actually really enjoyed it. And I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I spent 50 quid on it. And I think games like that benefit from Battle Pass. I think, Battletoads wouldn't have had the player base it had if it wasn't for Battle Pass. It's the bigger titles that worry me. It's the Halos, it's the Gears, because it's just like, yeah, it'd be great to play it on day one, but what does this mean for the long term of the game? Is it going to be a live service? Is it going to have battle passes, skins to buy, and stuff like that? And I know it's just cosmetics for most people, but I just think the principle behind it's like, I just don't agree with microtransactions at the end of the day.
Yep. Anything else?
Not really.
Me.
No, that's it.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate you guys' time. I'm sorry that we had so many ins and outs throughout this process.
It's been good. It's been good.
And if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to Skyrionn and Wise Fish. They do fantastic content, and it's the reason why we keep trying to bring them back on here as much as we can. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Skyrionn.
I'm Wise Fish.
And Will is somewhere. I might be able to find him again. Nope, I don't know where he's at. I think I deleted the picture. It's all good. Anyways, Will was here. He's not here. So we will see you all on the next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.